Welcome to Ford High School Weekly. I am your man, Dion Amade, and today we got another special guest, okay? One of the smoothest guys on the basketball court into this 2021 season over here in Tulsa, my man, Chase Martin. How's it going, Chase?
It's going well. Thank you. How are you?
Not too bad, not too bad. Trying to stay safe out here. How's everything going in your world?
Going well. Family's doing well. Team's looking good. So everything's good.
I mean, speaking of, playing in a basketball in this day and age in 2021 during a pandemic, news came out, earlier this year that your family had been hit hard by the COVID situation. Other than the whole basketball aspect of it, how has things been lately for you and your family, and as far as basketball here in the 2021 season?
Well, at first, kind of, getting it, you're feeling a little rough, and then when you get over it, your conditioning level, it's kind of your energy is not where it used to be. So I'm glad that I feel like I'm back to 100%, and I'm thankful for that. I think the Lord has blessed us with a fast recovery.
So what have been some of the adversities other than the whole COVID and coronavirus? What has been some of the toughest adversity that you and your teams had to face throughout this whole season?
I think we were young, and we showed that at the beginning of the year. We went through a bunch of adversity at the beginning. Still going through it sometimes in practice. Showing our immaturity, but I think that we bounced back. We're such a tight group. We have such good leaders now, and it's just been a great thing to get through the adversity, getting the cream of the crop.
So now that, this basketball season is kind of winding down towards the end, playoff time is coming here pretty soon. What have you taken from the beginning and now bringing it to the end that's going to kind of help y'all towards that run to the gold ball?
For us, it's just we gotta come every day like it's our last. I think we were talking at practice today where we've only got 11 more practices, hopefully, if we make a run to state. And that's just way to think about. And we got to prepare and do everything we can to ensure that we can get to state.
Knowing that you're one of the best guys in the state playing the game right now, what do you think you have to do for individually to help your team reach its goals and accomplish some of the things that y'all wanted to during the beginning of the season?
Obviously, you got to put the ball through the net. But not only that, I feel like I got to be step up as a leader with this group, because we only got 3 or 4 guys who got really good experience last year, and I feel like that's going to be huge going into the playoffs. Just being mentally tough and keeping our guys uplifted, because we know other teams are going to make a run, especially in the playoffs. So we just got to keep each other uplifted, and I think we'll be all right.
What's one of the things that you're most looking forward to about the playoff situation?
Just the competitiveness, just the atmosphere. Playoff basketball, everyone's playing like it's their last game of the year, and that's nothing better because you're going to get everyone's best, and that's what I'm looking forward to, just to compete and get after some guys.
How was it last year to be so close to getting, to that, reaching that gold ball in that state tournament and having it slip through y'all's fingers, not by, you guys being in control of it, but just circumstances that y'all couldn't control?
At first, honestly, we were optimistic. We thought we were going to be able to reschedule it. But then when we got the news that it was canceled, it hit us pretty hard, especially the seniors. We had a great group of guys, and we felt like we had a great matchup with Edmond Memorial, and we were excited for that. And not having those games and just that feeling, it was tough. It was one of those things where you're just like, man, you take stuff for granted. Just that last practice, that last game, we thought when we beat BA at Catoosa, we thought, shoot, we got 4 more or 3 more games, and so when you look back at it, that was the last game, and we were all pretty bummed.
So with that being said, how has that changed your mindset or the way you approach the game here, this year? Now that something was taken away from you so soon without you even realizing, and now this year, getting an opportunity to, run it back, so to speak.
It's just kind of like I touched on earlier. It's like you never want to take anything for granted. You never know when someone might test positive, and then you might play your last game in your junior season. So you just gotta take every game like it's your last, and you go out there and give everything you got. Nothing left in the tank.
They started hooping early in the Martin household. Find out how early when the conversation with Chase Martin continues on Ford High School Weekly. Welcome back to Ford High School Weekly. I'm your man, Dion Amade, and right now we're talking to one of the best basketball players in the state of Oklahoma, my man, Chase Martin. Chase, now let's bring it back to the beginning. I mean, how did basketball, start for you in your early age?
Early on, my dad was a big time ball player. Just kind of growing up in that household, the whole family plays it. And just as a young age, you just kind of developed the love for the game, and it's just grown ever since.
So what's your earliest memories of playing basketball?
Probably I'm like 2 or 3. And I just remember because my mom has a picture, we got the little hoop on, we're in our first house, and he gives me a ball and I miss my first shot and I just start bawling. I'm crying because, my dad can do it and I can't. And then, he kind of gets it going and then I finally start making some.
It all starts with the Fisher-Price hoop, doesn't it, for everybody? Huh?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So what was, when was your belief in you that you could, do something with this game or you be special at it?
I think around 5th or 6th grade is definitely when I was like kind of starting to take it more serious. Starting playing AAU, starting in 3rd grade, you just wanted to do something in the summer. But then in 5th and 6th grade, I feel like I took a huge leap then, just kind of growing up, going then. But even 7th grade, you're about to go into middle school, you're about to go into high school. You're like, I think I can get something out of this. And so I'm just super excited the path that I've been on.
So has basketball always been your only sport, or have you played other things growing up as well?
I played baseball growing up, but mainly football. It was always basketball and football, and I made that choice to quit after the 8th grade year. And it was tough for me because I love the game, but I just felt like my talents were better off in basketball.
So what position did you play in football?
I was a wide receiver.
So it's in my world, we say we took a nice retirement. Those basketball players, they decide to focus on that one place. It's like, yeah, I retired in the 8th grade and decided to focus on basketball.
Oh yeah.
So as far as being in the situation where you are, and if most people don't know that your dad is your head coach over there at Jenks. So how has that been throughout your life? Your dad, being a basketball coach and you kind of falling in love with the game and trying to develop as a player.
It's helped me tremendously. Just kind of like I said, growing up, you're living in a gym, you're being around guys who want to get better. And then also it's so fun to have him in the high school career. I mean, have him on my sideline, always there for me. And just, there's times where he's going to yell at me, but I know he's always got my back, and, we're ready to take on what's next.
So I always ask this question to coaches' sons and daughters. And when your dad's out there, tell the truth. Is he harder on you than he is on everybody else?
I think so, just because, we've obviously grown up together, but other people don't see it, sometimes, whether it's just kind of a look, all right, I was like, I got you, Dad, I got you. But it pushes me, I want him to be on to me, get on to me, and it just because it makes me better.
Yeah, I could imagine that answer was going to be yes. I remember I went to a game earlier this year when y'all were playing Bixby, and I could see your dad's look, and he's like, that guy always goes left, and he yelled at you across the court while you were running back down on offense, and I knew it was definitely something that you guys had talked about and communicated. He was a little upset that you still allowed the player to go left, so I can tell he's hard on you, but it seems like it's paying off.
Oh yeah. Yes, sir. And that's the thing. He's always pushing me to get better.
So, you would know it best. Is there any difference from your dad as far as being an NFL referee, being a high school basketball coach, or just being your dad on a regular everyday basis?
He does a great job at just at home. He's dad. He's not coach at home. We made a rule that the only time we can talk about basketball at home is if I go to him, and then he can tell me whatever he wants to if I go to him. And so I think that's been good for us and good for our relationship, just to grow and every day just love each other.
When we come back, we'll see what Clay Martin has to say about coaching and living under the same roof with his son. Coming up next on Ford High School Weekly. Welcome back to Ford High School Weekly. We're talking with the head coach of the Jenks Trojans, Clay Martin. And coach, the basketball season is underway. You're in the middle of it, in the thick of things. What is it like, and with the question that I'm sure you've gotten asked multiple times, coaching your son? How is that situation?
For me, it's wonderful. When I had the chance to come back and coach, I went to two people. I went to my wife, who's already sacrifices so much with everything that I do with the NFL, and then just to add the rigor of being a head coach back. And then I went to Chase, who was going to be an eighth grader, and I just said, "Here's the deal. There's a chance this could happen. How do you feel about it?" It's not easy being a freshman who is probably going to get moved up, and it's not easy being the coach's kid on top of that. For me, it's just special every day just to not only be in the gym doing what you love to do, but to have these moments with your son right along there with you. It's just been awesome. For him, I told him, I said, no matter what, you're going to hear it, right? You're going to hear it. Daddy's boy, whatever the case may be. But even there's all, and it's just life. There's also going to be people here on our side that they're going to be thinking, well, he's the coach's kid. And so luckily for our situation, Chase is a very talented player. And I think his play speaks for itself. And so, I talked to 3 or 4 coaches who went through it, and they said, you know what, it was hard, but I wouldn't trade it for anything. And that really helped me decide, I think I can do this. So it's really special, and we've tried to keep it, when we leave the gym, like today when we left to come home, if there's going to be basketball talk, it's going to be from him. I think we've really held true to that rule of when we leave the gym, man, it's just father and son. If you want to talk hoops, great. If you want to talk scouting report, great, but I'm not bringing it up once we leave the gym.
So this is the question that I really want to ask you, and I'm gonna make sure that I talk with him here after I talk with you in the near future. So who do you think his game is modeled after? Like when you're coaching him and you see him in the backyard as a youngster, and then up until this point, what kind of game do you think he has as far as comparing to another player?
Oh man, not somebody that I would like an old school John Stockton or something. But he is really he really is a student of the game, and I think we're going to give you the same answer here because he and I have talked about it. Gordon Hayward is a young man that played obviously at Butler University, and then has been really good at the league for a lot of teams. A little bit taller than Chase, but skill-wise, they try to, Chase has always been a taller kid, but I've always had a ball in his hand. He's always been, quote unquote, a guard, a perimeter type player. And so I think he really likes Gordon Hayward. I think he loves Jason Tatum, although that's a heck of a comparison. And nor am I comparing Chase to Tatum, but just those bigger guards that can come off screens and shots and make plays. And so, we've had one school that's recruiting him tell him that they remind him a lot of a Pat Connaughton that played at Notre Dame and is now in the league with the Bucks, I believe. And so, I think for him, it's taking all those things and incorporating it, but just being being Chase and learning and implementing some of those moves or techniques. But you know what, you've still got to just be yourself a little bit too. But I would be shocked if we don't give you the same name when you have that conversation.
Coach, I bet you he gives you the same name, because literally me and Johnny Dash were talking after the game versus Bixby, and I literally told him the same answer. I mean,
No way.
The same answer.
Oh,
I said
wow.
he's got more of a Gordon Hayward game because he's not demonstrative out there where he's like too aggressive, but he lets that thing come to him. But when it comes to him, he takes control of it. And I'm surprised that you said the same thing, because I definitely thought you were going to go old school with me over here.
Well, you're right. And to his credit, I thought early on he really tried to carry the weight of the team too much because we were so inexperienced. And I think really the last 2/3 of the season, he's done a good job. Sometimes I wish he was a little bit more demonstrative, but I think that could change every night. I think sometimes he needs to be more aggressive. But like you said, I mean, the last couple weeks when he's got it going pretty well.
All right, so let me ask you a question, and there's a method to my madness when I ask you this. So when you were growing up, okay, young Clay Martin, who was the guy that you looked up to playing basketball?
Wayman Tisdale. You don't even have to finish the question. Wayman Tisdale. Loved
Okay.
it. Loved
Yeah.
it. I wore 23 as a young kid, and most people thought it was for Jordan, of course. Wayman Tisdale. And then I loved even this, see if you know this name. When I was a young kid, there was a really good guard at Edison named Kevin Pritchard. Went on to play at Kansas. Now he's an executive in the NBA. But for me, Wayman Tisdale was it.
You know, for some reason, and again, don't ruin what I'm trying to do here. I'm gonna ask Chase as well, because as soon as I saw the number 33 on his back, I was like, man, Clay Martin must be a Larry Bird fan for some.
Without a doubt. I mean, without a doubt, I was a huge Larry Bird fan, huge Magic fan. I was a taller point guard. Chase is kind of off the ball. I played point, and I watched a ton of Magic the older I got. But when I was in elementary school, you're talking Wayman all the way.
Next up, we get back to Chase Martin. We'll talk to him about his basketball role model and his recruiting experience thus far. Ford High School Weekly continues after this break. Welcome back to Ford High School Weekly. Today is a special day because we got a special player that's joining us today, my man Chase Martin. Chase, thank you so much for joining us. And I want to make sure I go ahead and ask you this question because something that I've been wondering about for a long time. I went ahead and asked your dad, and he had an answer, but I kind of want to see if it's similar for you.
Mm-hmm.
Why the number 33?
Obviously we had when I was growing up, he's a coach. Obviously I lived in the gym, and Nick Sidorkis, he played at Jenks, and he wore the number 33, and he was kind of like my idol. He was my hero. And then you throw in Larry Bird, Marcus Smart at OSU. But I would say mainly it was Nick Sidorkis, just because he was kind of like an older brother to me, I feel like, growing up.
Man, when I asked your dad that question, I thought for sure he was going to tell me that his favorite player of all time was Larry Bird, and so he wore it, and then you wore it. So, but I mean, every time I ask you guys this question, it's like I get the opposite answer. I mean, 33 is the number that is one of my favorites as well. I wore it all through growing up as a kid and through high school. So, hey, man, I rock the 3-3 too. Okay, double threes is all right with me. Speaking of that, though, I mean, as far as your dad and you, when he's coaching you, I asked him this as well. Who do you think you model your game after?
Man, I feel like it's a lot of different people. I feel like if I had to pick a specific person, I would say Gordon Hayward, just because before he was hurt. He was able to create for others, and then also be able to shoot the ball at a high level. But I feel like for me personally, it's like I look at one guy's go-to move, and then I study that. I watch a bunch of film on it, and then I try to add it to my bag. And it's not really one person, I would say.
Me and your dad and you literally have the same answer. I mean, I went to that Bixby game and I was talking to J-Dash. I was like, man, that dude looks so much like Gordon Hayward when he's out there because your game is just so smooth. I mean, just pull up, even on defense, like it's a weird combination of just so calm, cool, and collected, under control. But then when you explode, it's like a certain burst that you don't come. It comes out of nowhere. Like I saw that block in that Bixby game. That thing was mighty impressive, and I was like, "Oh yeah, he got that beast in him." I see it.
Oh yeah, you got to talk a little bit. You always got to talk a little bit.
It's always fun. It's always fun. Now we've talked about the COVID, and we've talked about your dad being your coach and all kinds of stuff. But at this point in your career, I mean, you're getting attention from college coaches and college programs, and you're the man in Jenks when the basketball's in your hand, everybody's watching. So how has it been this late in your career? And as far as the recruiting process, how has that been?
It's been awesome. Obviously I wish we could have had a summer last year, but at the same time, I feel like I'm in a great spot. So many things to be thankful for. Just being able to have the attention, to have coaches calling me and texting me, it's such a blessing. And again, I wish we would have had a summer last year, but I'm excited for this summer, excited for the school season. But I'm just super thankful for where I'm at.
So who are some of the programs that are looking at you, and some of the schools that you're interested in as well?
I would say ORU for sure, Tulsa, Texas A&M, Liberty, Sam Houston State, and Utah State are all kind of, I would say, prioritizing me the most, or texting me and calling me the most. So I've just been super thankful for that.
So as far as the summer and AAU, not a lot of people get privy to that information. How does that affect a high school basketball player? Because a lot of people think it's just about high school basketball. You send out your tape and then coaches look at you from that aspect. But not having a summer, how did that affect the average high school basketball player and you as well?
I feel like it affected a lot because the coaches were not able to come out and see us in person, and obviously you get a different aspect when you're in person, and whether you're on film, you get to meet them. Like I feel like I've only met 4 or 5 of the coaches that I've actually talked to, just because of connections and all that. But when you look at the summer, it's like you go out and meet coaches, you can go out and perform in front of them, and it kind of adds that extra pressure. And whereas film, they can just you have plenty of games to choose from. But when you're in the summer, you got to come out and ball every game, and I feel like that puts a lot. It's a good pressure. It's a good pressure.
Father and son loving the game and enjoying it together most of the time. It can't get much better than that.
3 seconds, 2 seconds at the buzzer on the way. That's good.
Be sure to go to YurView.com/OK for highlights and replays of the board game of the week. And check out our podcast and past episodes at, yes, you guessed it, YurView.com/OK. And remember, only the best in Oklahoma make the Ford High School Weekly. So thank you for watching, and until next time, I'm Gianna Mate.